Hello, and welcome to another episode of AI at Akamai. I'm Vineet from Akamai Cloud. If you've seen any of our previous episodes, then you know we're big on AI inference. That's where the rubber meets the road with AI and where businesses turn their AI investments into value. And the data, as we've said before, shows that the market is indeed shifting from training to inference. In this series, I'm on a quest to see what use cases businesses are building and how easy it is for them to actually develop these AI use cases and make this whole AI inference thing actually work. In today's episode, I'm joined by Mike Ellison, one of my esteemed colleagues, who's here to show us just how easy it is to get started with a solid AI use case. Mike, welcome.
Hello there. Excited to be here today. My name is Mike Ellison. I'm a senior developer advocate here at Akamai, and I'm looking forward to this discussion. With the rise of the AI era, we've all seen a huge increase in all the different types of AI applications and inferencing. And it's great to be part of this and figuring it all out.
Exactly. And not long ago, we saw a neat application of hyper-personalization in retail, which was great to see a real-world use case of how AI inference is implemented at the edge. And we'll link that specific episode in the comments if you didn't see it. Definitely worth checking out if you haven't already. But there are many more incredible examples that turn up on a daily basis. In fact, last week, I think there was a whole lot of buzz about AI actors and the impact that they have on the movie industry. Now, I'm not going to touch the social and ethical ramifications of that with a 10-foot pole at this point, but the tech behind it is absolutely super interesting. Being able to generate characters and have them appear realistic and consistent between scenes is very impressive. And this can have many, other practical applications down the track for businesses. I mean, maybe even one day they can replace you and I on YouTube, Mike. But let's not give the producers any ideas at this point. So, Mike, tell me about any interesting use cases that you may have come across recently in AI.
Yeah, I mean, there's been so many different applications, and it's very hard to keep track of everything. You bring up a good point about the media and entertainment space. Of course, the AI content generation, where I see more of a positive implementation for AI, are definitely around things like video production. So especially some of the customers that I work with a lot are doing things like live sporting events, and being able to do things like automated subtitling can be very helpful for those that are hard of hearing, but also things like automated clipping. So especially when you're watching a sports match, whether it's a goal, a touchdown, an overtake, or something like that, AI has the ability to understand that that is an exciting moment and take a snapshot of like 30, 45 seconds and upload that immediately as a standalone clip to be reshared on social media. And that can now be done in a matter of minutes, as opposed to perhaps 10, 15 years ago, where you had to have a whole video production crew record it, edit it, upload it, and it would take hours. And that's definitely some of the exciting solutions that customers are working on implementing today and relying with Akamai Cloud on to make that a reality.
Yeah, excellent example. Today, we're here to unpack one of the most commonly deployed AI solutions in business, and that is the humble AI chatbot. Now, I know a chatbot doesn't exactly scream exciting, but in a practical sense for businesses, it is an extremely versatile application. It can serve as the professional and friendly and helpful starting point for your customers. It can also be one of the simplest starting points for you to deploy an application in your business, because it has all of the information and the context that you provided, and there's nothing more that you need to do to get it going. And then also, it is one of the most tangible ways to show a return on investment in terms of productivity gains, in terms of handling spikes or volumes of customer inquiries that are coming through, and also just delivering seamless, consistent customer experiences. Naturally, though, there are pitfalls and challenges to consider as well. So, Mike, could you maybe touch on what some of those might be?
Oh, definitely. And yeah, I think in the last year and a half, I've definitely encountered quite a lot of AI chatbots or situations where I'm not wondering whether I'm talking to an actual human. But yeah, again, sidestepping that human interaction versus an AI interaction story and whether that's ethical, there are all sorts of challenges that you need to be worried about. One of the major challenges that we're seeing is how accurate can an AI chatbot really be? Perhaps you've heard of the word hallucinations, and that's really an umbrella term that is being used for any time an AI chatbot is not necessarily accurate in the giving the right response. And that can lead to all sorts of issues. I've seen simple situations where an AI responds with the wrong answer on the amount of letter R's are in the word blueberry, but it can also have some very serious implications where people asking an AI chatbot, for instance, for medical advice could receive the wrong medical advice. Or I've also seen situations where a retail vendor is basically giving away a product for free because of the way the AI chatbot responds. So you'll have to rely on training the AI chatbot with the right accurate data, give it some guardrails to make sure what not to respond with. And that's one of the major challenges that we see.
Yeah, there are indeed lots of challenges, and I think hallucinations are a particularly tricky one to get around, especially if you're relying on your chatbot to directly sort of interact with your customers or patients, like you said. You want to make sure that it is saying the right thing, and you want to make sure that you control what it can actually say, because hallucinations tend to let the AI bot kind of go on its own tangent sometimes. Let's now dive into what everyone's waiting to see, which is how do you actually deploy one of these chatbots quickly? So Mike, why don't you take it away and show us how to get started?
Yeah, of course. I mean, let's first of all say there are many, many different ways of deploying an AI chatbots. There are many different models out there. There are many different user interfaces out there, open source libraries. You can write your own custom code. But the interesting part about it is we come up with a way where you can even follow along, even if you're not very technical, and just follow along the guides on Akamai Cloud that we've created, where in the span of around, I would say, 45 minutes to an hour, you have the ability to deploy your AI chatbot on the Akamai Cloud. Now, that requires stitching together a bunch of different technologies, but we've tried to make it as easy as possible. So one of the technologies that we have running on Akamai Cloud is the so-called Linode Kubernetes Engine, or LKE. And this is a Kubernetes stack running on cloud-native technologies that makes it very easy for you to deploy applications or workloads. And that serves very well for AI workloads, because AI chatbots consist of multiple technologies stitched together. Again, I've mentioned you need a user interface for your users to be able to talk to. You need the model deployed on compute, preferably a high level of compute like GPUs, for instance, that we have available on Akamai Cloud. You're going to need to stitch that together with, especially if you're running that on Kubernetes, with technologies like, Knative and KServe, which are just making it easier to deploy all of the dependencies and all of the, connectivity between the two. Now, basically, if you want to follow along with the guide, what happens in the process is you need to start with this LKE cluster. And that takes roughly 2 or 3 minutes or so to deploy a fully managed Kubernetes cluster, which is very fast. And then on top of that, we have now deployed an IDP, or internal development platform, and we call that App Platform, or App Platform for LKE, where it takes around an additional 10 to 15 minutes to deploy with one click on top of that cluster. And you will have all of the cloud-native technologies ready to go, everything from networking to security, but most importantly, the ability to just very easily deploy different types of workloads and then expose them to the public internet through a concept called services, and do that all in a very easy-to-follow user interface way. There's developer tooling like APIs and CLIs available for App Platform as well. But it just makes it very easily and easy to deploy all of this stuff. So if you follow through the guide, and what you can see on the screen here is me setting up things like the NVIDIA GPU operator. So we have the GPUs, and now App Platform is able to talk to the GPUs. You also need to deploy a model, of course. And by doing that in an open source way, You have the ability to utilize things like Hugging Face, where you have the ability to grab things like the Llama 3 model, set up an account, ask for approval and access to that. And then basically what we're doing in App Platform is we're creating a workload for that model to be loaded in, deployed onto the GPUs. And then finally, to stitch that all together, we create a workload that showcases the UI chatbot, where again, it's open source technology. It's an open web UI chatbot that we deploy as a workload. We expose that as a service in App Platform itself. And then from there, we're basically ready to go. That whole process took around 45 minutes to an hour with very little coding. All of the code snippets, etc., that you need are in the guide. And from there, you have a URL that you can go to. You can talk to the chatbot. As you can see on the screen here, we're asking it about Kubernetes. And yeah, now from here, we've deployed this in an hour, a very democratized way of getting that ready. And from here, the exciting parts would be go ahead and train it with the specific data that we want, and be able to put that into production.
Fantastic. It's great to see just how simple it really is to build a chatbot. I mean, it's complex in the background, and in the back end, there's a lot of work and components that need to come together to make it all work. But I think, for developers, it's great to see that, it's as simple as stepping through the guide that we've made available. And that shows them exactly, what it is you need to do to get this chatbot up and running very quickly. And we handle all of the background architecture and make it really easy for them. So yeah, that's fantastic. Thank you for running us through that, Mike. Once it's deployed, obviously, it's important to then, manage the performance of the application to make sure that it's, responsive, it's accurate, it sticks to the brief in terms of the hallucinations that we talked about before, and of course that it's secure. And here at Akamai, we help businesses with the building blocks they need to be able to deploy an enterprise-grade chatbot that can, do exactly those things, and to make sure that you're able to build something that can address your customer queries or provide that interface to a knowledge base internally, so that your own staff can ask questions to it, or even just test their best ideas with.
Yeah, no, definitely. Besides Akamai Cloud giving you the building blocks to actually deploy the AI chatbot, I think, the security is also an extremely important component of it. And the Akamai security line that we have can help you with defending that against potential attacks or gateway solutions, where if you wanted to say expose your AI application and monetize that, you also want to have ways of controlling that. So there's all sorts of different applications, and I'm sure you'll cover that in upcoming episodes. For those who want to follow along and build their own AI chatbot and train it, take a look at the guide that we've created. It's very easy. It's available on akamai.com. And I recommend sign up for a free trial, test it out, and I'm very excited to see what you will be building next.
Perfect. And with that, it is time to wrap this episode. I hope you enjoyed unpacking how to deploy an AI chatbot quickly. We'll run another episode on implementing RAG pipelines so you can understand how to build that context in as well. Let us know in the comments if you found today's episode interesting, and if there's anything else you'd like us to dive deeper in terms of the tech, and we can cover that in future episodes. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.